Should gender roles change in the diaspora, or are we losing our culture? This is the Convo Corner on Wambe TV. My name is Adugo.
And my name is Mercified. If a woman earns more than her husband, should he still lead the home?
Is submission still relevant or outdated in the diaspora?
Or are we slowly losing our culture to fit into the Western society?
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Today's topic is causing serious debate in homes, relationships, and communities.
Gender roles in the diaspora, should they change, or should we still hold on to tradition?
To help shed light on this topic, we have powerful people in the house. On my left-hand side, could you introduce yourself for me?
Hi everyone, my name is Mazi Ifani Chukwu.
Beautiful, you.
Hi, my name is Tina. People call me Tinzi.
Hi, Tinzi.
Hi. How about you, sir?
Hi everyone, my name is Arulu Ademite.
Oluwafunke Idowu. Hello everyone.
Growing up, we were taught clear roles, the man provides, the woman nurtures. Does that really work in abroad?
Well, in today's America, where one person's income is barely enough, should we still hold on to that thinking because things are changing, especially in this country that we found ourselves in?
Correct.
One person carrying the weight, is it still realistic or not?
All right, let's talk about it.
Well, I mean, with the fact that from Nigeria things are different, and then when you come abroad or you find yourself in the diaspora, it becomes a reality check. Income for one person isn't enough for the family.
Correct.
I think at that point a little adjustment is required, not a complete overhaul of the wedding system or the marriage system. At that point there's an adjustment that needs to be made. And that adjustment can be in form of, maybe start up a business. It could be in form of maybe the wife taking up some responsibilities and the man falling back to help. But as far as the structure of marriage, I don't think that is enough to shaking everything. Basically render your marriage useless. I'm trying to find a term, but that's not enough to say, oh, now because my wife needs to find a job, or a wife needs to find a job to support her husband, that all of a sudden, this marriage, we have to break down the structures and restructure everything from the ground. So I would say, yeah, a little bit of an adjustment, but that's it.
A little bit of an adjustment. Okay,
yes.
Let's hold that thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
Your thoughts?
So the question is, if is a thing, right? If having shared responsibility when it comes to finances and one person's income. So for me, it's not about one person's income, it's about the income that is structured that will fit into the income that is coming into the house. So if a wife peradventure is a nursing mother, has got 2 kids, and your income will not accommodate a daycare or a crèche, and accommodating that and also having her to work. I mean, in marriage for me, it's not about a static, the way we used to do it, it's the way we want to do it for me. So my perspective with that is downsizing. If one income is not going to be enough, can we communicate to downsizing to what would accommodate by what we have at the moment, by the situation that we have at the moment. So now I know that in the thought of people, it will be looking at what if it's the husband that is working. So in diaspora, for me, I also encourage that if the husband at the time is not working and the wife is working, that income, trust me, I'm an advocate of whoever is working. I know the ego, the culture, the storytelling of how we used to be would not let every individual manage their own institution the way their situation is. But I beg to differ that anybody's income is just fine by me.
Okay.
He was laughing.
Yeah, I wanted him to say something actually.
Every marriage is unique.
That's right.
And it's important that the way we classify these issues there are certain things that you take upon yourself as an individual. You should be willing to face the consequences. It's not a problem of society. And as that, when it comes to responsibilities, when it comes to roles, I think a role would be injustice to this conversation, and that would pick responsibilities. Because at the point, we should be able to commit to each other and be responsible enough to redefine what our relationship is. Now, having said that, when you do your transition from the typical African environment to a Western culture, it's important to also understand that changes will come. But I believe those changes are not consequential enough to destroy your marriage.
That's right.
Yeah, like I wanted to touch on your point a little bit. Like there are instances where, say, the man is a doctor or a dentist, highly trained, highly qualified. The wife is also trained, and then coming to America, that degree does not apply, right? And the man, you sit down and discuss and say, okay, you know what? How about I go back to school?
Correct.
And why you support, right? That doesn't destroy the marriage, right? That communication is there. The woman is earning, the man knowing fully well that this is not as a result of his own doing. He wants to actually support his family. He has been doing it in Nigeria. Now he wants to readjust, go back to school, learn, start earning that income that would also support the family. Right. So that's why I said a little bit of adjustment might be needed, but it's not a situation where just because we came here and I'm no longer relevant in that context of I don't have a job right now, but you know that I'm capable, I'm willing. That doesn't mean at that point you start redefining our marriage the way you want to, to fit your narrative. And that's why I say that's why I see a lot of people do.
I know she's itching to say something. What was that?
Okay, so to me, income, in fact, I think funds shouldn't cause problem in the family where they have understanding. Whatever income or whoever that is making the money, they should have a balance. Like they should have a round table talk. Now, whatever is coming in the family will not carry us the way, like, you as a mother, as a woman, most especially women, we have some stuff we want to have. But for that moment, if whatever income you're having is not going to cover your expenses, you have to cut it down. Like you said, you have to cut it down and then plan towards your income. I think once you have that, I don't think is supposed to cause problem in the family.
So it boils down to communication with both parties,
we are
right?
all talking about this thing here, and it's seeming like as if it's so seamless and it's so simple. If it were that simple and this straightforward, people will not be having divorce up and down. People will not be fighting every day. We'll not be having people posting on social media how, my wife came to this country and she has changed
all of a sudden.
If it was this linear,
I understand where you're coming from.
We will not have all those problems.
That's why we need to understand that we haven't married, or we are not married to the structure or any system. You're married to an individual.
That's it.
So a lot of times it's the conviction of your partner that ruin or do good to the marriage. So it's not about the system. So let's say, and that I want to simplify your thoughts. If you have four of us sharing the same opinion, it doesn't make that opinion working. It doesn't mean it would work. Or yes, it's not valid. I don't want to use the word valid because it's valid. But then it doesn't mean that it would work for an individual that is irresponsible. Do you agree with me? So for an individual that is not towing that path, it's not going to be seamless. For a lazy person or for a selfish person, these attributes, these attributes. No, we have lazy people. So which means intentional lazy people, slothful people will sit back because they have their other partner. And I'm not doing gender now. I'm not going to say a woman or a man. We have partners that are intentionally slothful. They are lazy. They cannot adapt into the diaspora system. And the diaspora system is for you to wake up and work every day because we are on the monthly basis bills.
That's right.
So we have people that cannot adapt into that system, and legitimately they are just laid back. That's one. I had a company when I was in Nigeria. I came here with a bag, and it was almost like starting off from the scratch. There's a place where I would not be available to start up. So there are legit reasons why people are not adapting. I'm not taking that away from them. But also, if you and not responsible, I don't think we're talking about you.
Yeah, we cannot take irresponsible people into context because we are looking at standard.
Thank you.
Yeah, like standard marriages, standard events. So I think one of the biggest problems in all of this is selfishness. If you have a selfish partner, that only thinks about himself.
Oh my God.
Okay, before I came here or while still here or talking to other people, before you come, you hear that, women in America, when they go to America, they just change. When they go to America, they just change. So I want us to talk about the elephant in the room. Are women in the diaspora, are they evolving faster than men? Because it looks like women come here, they go to school, they start beginning to become more financially independent, they're beginning to make more money, and then the men are beginning to feel like,
I just brought you.
The money that I used to use and oppress people back home now. My wife now has the same money now, so she's going to oppress me, and it just feels like nobody wants to address that particular part of it.
As a student of communication, what you've just successfully done is agenda setting theory, which is basically guiding our thoughts in terms of how we want to think about it. Now, one of the first things you should also understand is that when you think about marriage in itself, at the point when I was getting married, I was privileged to actually get a guidance. I'm just 13-year-old, very young in marriage, right? But the guidance I got was simple. Beyond love, I need somebody who is compassionate. If someone like my partner, for instance, is compassionate, it helps me drive towards my goals. And at the same time, not just me, our family values. Now, the question is this. When people are dating, what kind of conversations do they have? You would also recall that the typical African man that tends to be irresponsible in today's conversation, in today's world, the way you can actually attribute his success is when you look at his adogo and say, this woman is great, this woman is looking beautiful. I grew up within the Igbo community, and I did realize that for the average Igbo man, his pride is the glory of his wife and his children.
If the wife and children are looking good, then the man is doing well.
So having said that, it is also important to understand that we would not ignore the weakness of certain cultures and tradition. But in our transition to this environment, at least in my own circle, I've realized that every average man wants his wife to succeed.
That's right.
And as part of that, you will make sacrifices. But it gets to a point, if your ability to lead as an individual, now this is not about a man or a woman, but a lot of the time, depending on the structure you find yourself, you're always looking at for aspiration from the guy. Look, if you fail in your ability to lead me as your wife, to achieve success, to guide me, to support me, and when I say leadership, doesn't mean like you do this, you do this, you do that. No, it's more around giving you that guidance. Look, you have a free world. Go and conquer the world. You can do it. For me as an individual, I think of myself that, look, if I can guide people, train people to do certain things, my partner should do better.
Okay, I wanted to, kind of like jump in. My question is, what's your value system? What do you value? There's so many, whether you're in Nigeria, Australia, Japan, it doesn't matter. When I was in Nigeria, the same way I live my life in Nigeria is the same way I live my life here. Nothing really changed. But there are so many people that don't have values. So when they come to America, whether you're a man or a woman, you see that even they are not married, they are single. You see that these people change immediately. They step feet here. Somebody who never maybe went out at night, all of a sudden starts going out and at night. Somebody that because you have access to alcohol, the society, now you're on your own, you're in your apartment. Freedom.
So yeah, for you, sorry to cut you short, if you say that for you now the change is not because married or not.
It's not because of marriage.
The country changes people.
Yes.
Okay.
You as a person should know your values before you even say you want to get married to somebody or you want to share your life with someone. What are your values? You guys have shared values. If you have a value system like that, you wouldn't change drastically. Fine, the society is going to kind of make you kind of adapt, but you adapt within your value system. You will not break loose and start doing like sporadic things.
Okay, I'm sorry. So
That's okay.
I just wanted to jump on one of the things or maybe say two. I'm picking on you. So that's about having to what you guys talked about doing relationship successfully. and I mean, glory be to God, I'm a Christian. I'm in marriage and it's been 16, 17 years.
Beautiful.
And so
You
I
need to write a book.
sincerely, I would say one of the things that have helped me, whether when we were in Nigeria and here, is to understanding the present. A lot of times, all the things we ever talked about are like illusions. They are facade, the things we had dreamt about. It's just like saying what I wanted to be when I was in primary 6. So whatever we have talked about, and I'm not going to totally just zero what you said about it. I'm just trying to put it out there because I know I've been there where your expectations as to what was your inspiration is different from the reality that you found yourself. A lot of us were coming into wherever they are, diaspora, for greener pastures. I've never seen any greens on the grass. And that's not to take away the notes saying that we are successful or we are doing well or the system is working. But having to adapt. So now going back to the host question, having to adapt is an individual thing. So it's not about I think that thing now, don't chew me. It's a perspective thing. So why it looks like that to evolving, in my own opinion, is that Nigeria setup made it so easy for women to be laid back. So this place is like a platform. So it's not like we are revolving. Women, in my opinion, I feel like it's a place where we are able to do what we have wanted to do. It's like a room that is allowing us to be who we can be in a system where it's streamlined. A lot of marriages are streamlined to how the financial ability is. And so we are able to step into help. In the word of help. For somebody like me, I've never had to see myself as helping my husband because I've been independent a long time. So I'm like a body in my marriage, and it would take somebody to be another body to be with me, and that's where I talked about. That's why I will talk about partnership. So evolving as women is not like we are doing more than what men are doing. Is because there's a room for us to actually shine, because I'm not going to take away the culture letting us behind.
But honestly, some men feel like the ground is shifting under them, and it's
It's
kind of like
it's basically because minority, like let me say things that happen in the minority. At the end of the day, it gets promoted and it seems like it's happening to everyone. I'm telling you, like, if you take statistics right now of people that have moved to America and their marriages have stood the test of time, it will far surpass the ones that are struggling. But the ones that are struggling will make noise about it. They will be in Yes, and that's something that I've noticed about society. We pay attention a lot to
the negativity.
And then the minorities kind of shape policies that becomes
like a norm.
Becomes a norm.
And then self-doubt begins to come in. And for me also, every time I look at this whole conversation thing, I'm always looking at it from, if a system is actually enabling you to succeed, why not go for it?
That's it.
But at the same time also, we're in an environment that also encourages I, not we. So you have to be very deliberate.
Intentional.
And being intentional also means that you understand the possibilities of what you can achieve. I'm a big fan of every woman must succeed.
That's right.
In fact, I've been in situations where individuals would have issues. I know that, look, if we can set up this woman to be successful, you have a very good life. It's less work for you.
Individualism.
But you also come into, like, in context, what you've just said, like, some few people are just irresponsible. And then they begin to shape the narrative. And the question then comes, who did you marry? In the first place, you saw all of these green flags here. And then you want to make it a problem of the society, which is not. So there's a space for collaboration, there's a space for individual, but at the same time also, I'm also a big advocate of self, a bit of self in marriage, which means that because you are married, does not mean that you
lose yourself
in marriage.
Yes.
But you see, all of this whole conversation, there should be a balance.
Correct.
It is not safe to say that because women are here, they found their voice. The question is, what I've seen if I want to be objective, what I've seen is that those people who never end back home, when they come here and realize the opportunity to earn, they become reckless even with their choices.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
It's like a 4-step syndrome. Like every 4-step, like if you look at a child, if their 4-step, regardless that everybody's been working forever in their faces, their
get
4-step,
so
they get so anxiety,
excited about,
overwhelmed, and they want to work more than their pace, and they fall, and they, it's just like that. And seriously, because of this convo, like I said, I like to always be in the light of conversation that would help. And so I will throw it out there that trauma is a real thing. And transitioning is not easy for a lot of men.
Okay.
And they can be traumatized to start again. It's easy to say we are coming to America, and a lot of times I've known that, I don't have the statistic, but I know it's men that always say, all of us, we are going.
Yeah, and they sell all the properties, everything back home.
The reality of coming into diaspora and setting to having to carry all of this responsibility, not losing time, losing opportunity, and having to start all over. Then you know that your BSc is like a primary school certificate.
They don't even value it.
It's a reality that a lot of people now generally cannot sit with. So the way you will start up is so different from the way another person will start up. So I would encourage that let us be kind in our marriages.
The reason why people are fighting over who does chores and who doesn't cook is because people are staying married to who
they don't like.
If you hate your husband, if you hate your wife, you will let her do all the house chores when she comes back from work. If you hate your husband, you watch him drown in bills.
I wanted to say that.
Let me say something.
I'm being sarcastic, so I'm just saying that it has to do with the level of I don't like this person.
Why would you?
But how can you get married to someone you don't like?
But then again, let's not forget that the elephant in the room is that it looks like man and woman both come to the US. They all, there are people who came and met like
some people meet here, but at the end of the day, it doesn't work out.
Let's talk about the usual thing that from back home we fight over. Man brings wife here, or man and wife come together. Or who brought who? They came together. They're fighting over, or they're on the same level playing field. Now it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. The woman is no longer in the level that she was. She probably now might be like the usual. She's not a nurse, or she's not a doctor, or she's not any more money. And then the man that they came together at the same time is
still on the same spot,
on the same level. And this is not like an outlier, like an anomaly. It's something that usually happens most times. And you hear, oh yeah, because she now makes money, she now insults me. But the question is that, is it that the men are refusing to grow, or is there something that makes it when women come here, they are working hard?
I want Mazi to throw light in that because I wanted to say something about it.
Yeah, there are different individuals.
Okay.
Right. So you must have a level of inferiority complex for you to feel like, okay, my wife is making more money, or then it's a problem for me. Then it's an attitude, because that's why I said you have to be confident. You have to be confident in yourself, in your educational abilities. You have to be able to know that, okay, at this point I need to improve myself.
Sure.
So my wife, you have to grow.
That's it.
So nobody wants to have somebody that is just stagnant.
Redundant.
Just sitting there and doing nothing.
Make sure you grow.
So so as a man you have to do your part.
That's right.
So if you don't, you'll be left behind. Now there are also cases where like you said, you say somebody, one of the partners that never earned in Nigeria or wherever they came from. Now you're earning this amount of money and then you don't know how to control yourself. That's also a factor, right? So at that point, I think even with single people, it's not a marriage thing. I think even with single people that have not tasted success, once they come and they jump into success, management of that success becomes a problem. So first of all, know your wife. Know who you're getting married to. Don't marry somebody that you find on Facebook.
Marry your friend.
A blind date.
Wait, hold on. Don't marry somebody that you found on Facebook.
No, some people. That's for
I'm trying to understand. Don't marry someone.
No, Johnny, maybe I
You be like Facebook Marketplace. Like,
No,
They have a dating site. They have
let me
Facebook
rephrase
dating
it.
site.
but
Let me
human
rephrase
beings
it.
have Facebook accounts, so because you
I
have
would
Facebook
say
accounts,
learn your spouse.
Learn your
Know your
Don't
spouse,
jump
yeah.
Learn your partner.
I think I said the way I said it because of the experience.
Exactly.
Because I've heard people that
I just met her on Facebook and that's it.
I just met her on Facebook.
Oh my
and then I'm
God.
going
But a
to-
lot of marriages
But it
work.
doesn't matter
They meet on
No,
Facebook and it
hold on.
works.
everybody has like a
may
Facebook
work.
account. So
Hold
if you
on.
don't marry somebody because
Wait,
of
no,
Facebook, then
no,
nobody
I
will
said
marry.
met.
No, that is not what it's
Don't marry
saying.
when you
On
don't marry
Facebook.
somebody you met on.
You met on Facebook.
I mean,
That
it's
means
just as
you just met
sticks.
them on
Yeah,
Facebook.
it's just an expression. It's
Just
not
an
like
expression.
What I'm trying to say is that you have to, learn the person. Now, you made a point. It may work, but the risk that it will not work
It's
is
high.
very high.
Hi, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
What
anything
would
can work.
So,
Somebody can meet
Meeting
somebody
someone on
today.
Facebook.
Somebody can meet somebody today, marry them today, and be the
and
best
perfect
marriage.
couple,
But
yeah.
how many?
I mean, the world
It's very thin.
But going back
Very
to what
thin.
she said about women coming in, being successful, and the men are actually like struggling, that's not totally true.
Okay.
And perhaps also as individuals, I'll speak for myself. There are certain struggles I will not experience in life, maybe because I'm privileged for certain things. However, if we come to the reality of things, when I got here, I felt, oh, we're back home. I should do all the working. My wife, look, we want to raise the best kids,
So
right?
she stay back home.
She stayed back home. We did for 6 months,
Which
right?
is reasonable.
We did for 6 months. And guess what happened? One day, she said to me like, look, I don't want you to die.
Exactly.
Because it's going to, at the end of the
awesome.
day, if both of us were trying to figure it out, me alone, if you go and I am alone,
That is a beautiful, understanding wife.
It becomes a big struggle. Now, the point is this. If we learn the art of sacrifice, it got to that point and I said, you know what? You go to school. I'll keep doing what I have to do. But at the same time, I'm keeping my eyes down for opportunities. The question is this. You've mentioned one profession, nurse. How many nurses earn 6 figures without overtime?
They work
That's
it.
the
They
truth.
work it out.
I always say that most of the money from nursing comes with working
Overtime.
Overtime.
So, having said that, it means that every time we talk about struggle in marriage and we tie it to money, we're trading off something.
That's right.
Time.
And because
Correct, and that
we
is
are
very
coming
true.
from an environment where we always think about money, we shout odogo, odogo, odogo. We leave the companionship part,
Relationship.
which is the true essence of the marriage. And the choices we make. Have you noticed that the average Nigerian child is more even aggressive than the black American?
Exactly. Yeah.
They'll climb everything.
Because
Yeah.
My
there
son
is
come here now,
no
he'll climb this TV.
commitment a lot of the time to actually be
because
available.
people are, the parents are
They're
working.
working back to
So
back
actually-
over
so
time.
The
Yeah.
truth is, I remember one instance back home in Nigeria. I was working in German, and every time I spent my money to buy shoes and all of that, guess what the lady said to me? Were you deprived of shoes growing up? So it helps you put things in context.
Like, you didn't have
The
to. so
fact,
now you
That's
have
high.
money.
the fact, exactly.
But
So
you
the
want to
fact
buy
that
it
you're
right
coming to
now.
an environment that affords you the opportunity to do things and achieve things
Oh my God.
shouldn't overwhelm you
Overdoing
to be able to structure yourself. Because at the end of the day, whether my wife is successful, whether I'm successful, the winner is my kids.
That's true.
And I think,
right.
like wrapping up, but like for me, I would just say if two good persons come together,
Yeah.
you know,
Understanding.
so it's about individual.
Yep.
Every of these things, because I have seen, I don't know if it's right to say poor or women without income with bad character, and they're rude. And so when we consider people that are earning and they are cranky because they are tired, and we wrap them under that rudeness character, it's not fair.
Wow.
So sometimes it's just a balance.
Okay.
A good woman can be cranky
Maybe
because
she's
she's
going to
tired,
stress.
and all she needs is a man to help you, like your wife did, calm you down, sit down.
So slow
Can we
down.
work this overtime? Can you do
Yeah.
two? Can you do, you know,
Communication.
coming back to
Yeah, when you have
having
That's
somebody
it.
that have an
America.
insight. I mean,
okay,
yeah.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
And I said men in America, many a times, if you actually look at it objectively, men in America are actually nice. A lot of them.
Not all of them.
I said a lot of
Women
them.
in America
There's
are
nothing that can be
nice.
100%.
Yeah.
But why I said so is that how many times do you see freezing weather minus 60 degrees
And
and the man will not say, let me pick my shovel and go and do it. I will say, wife, now you will go shovel and
no,
Did anybody
no.
ask his wife to go
That's what I'm
shopping?
saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why I said if you look at it
Perspective and
objectively.
being objective.
I'm not saying
Yes,
anybody.
directly.
I'm
Yeah,
saying that
like,
like
yes.
when you look at it objectively, you know, on the surface it may look.
But when you start to go
But when
in
you start to
depth
think
as
in
to
depth
we
and see
pick
other
the
things,
roles and
other
pick
tax,
other
things
tax
in the house.
situations.
Like okay, big trees in this house and we want to fell it, we want to fall this tree. You see men they will remove their singlet and go and do it. They will
That's
not
right.
even say
Where's the woman in the
where's
house?
the woman in the house? Yeah.
Minus the men that are not
Minus the
absent.
minus the absent minus the
That's
So,
right.
there is no perfect situation.
Yeah.
You will
Right.
find very
Yeah,
useless people that won't
good
do it.
persons.
It still boils
But,
down.
you know,
It still
just-
boils down to understanding, communicating, and also mutual respect.
Yeah.
Okay,
about
what if you find yourself
Aha.
with a partner who is not understanding, who
But that's
is
your choice.
no, hold on,
That's a good question.
hold
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
hold on. You never choose to have something to do with such a person, but along the line,
Okay.
you find yourself with such a person. You're doing everything to make it work,
But it's not just
but he's
understanding.
not understanding, and he is not kind.
So a marriage
And-
that is faulty, yes, needs a solution. So when we cannot stereotype people's different issues in different marriages
Yeah.
as you
Everything
say
they have
diaspora
to
marriage
yes.
or this
Mhm.
that
And all of
it
that,
doesn't
yeah.
work
Yeah.
and all of that.
Yeah.
Because that's a specific problem in that marriage that needs to be fixed.
That's right.
So it's either somebody is taking a work. I'm a Christian. I don't do divorce. But if you have, we have to be sure that we are in marriage first before we talk about what marriage looks.
Honestly,
Marry your
because
friend.
a lot of marriages,
Those situations.
I know.
a
And
lot of
that's,
marriages,
that's a
the
situation
lady
that has
or the
to be
man
fixed.
in there is just the one marrying his or herself.
Wow.
Because the other partner doesn't see himself
People
as
marry for different reasons.
So if you can't
That's
fix
just
a
it. Some people
problem,
marry.
But if I have to chime into this, I think everything that fails or is failing, we have to do an analysis of it.
Yes,
right.
Specifically.
Where did it start from? What
Somewhere.
were the mistakes?
There was a crack.
Yeah, where did that crack come from? What was the mistake? Because sometimes we might even be fault.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you say that
Right.
person is not understanding,
What
sometimes I
could
see a
have-
difficult person that always want to impose their own opinion
On
on
you.
the other person.
Yeah.
And so you call that person not
Okay.
understanding.
Okay, so now understanding couples, somebody living with a difficult partner. But there's also another recurring theme with people or couples or married in the diaspora. It comes that's about, when it comes to husband and wife that are from Nigeria, from Africa, we know the usually man head, wife neck, and then they tell women, don't worry, neck is also because the neck that controls the head, all that. Yeah. But then we now want to talk about where you now find yourself in a capitalist society like America that depends on money. If we say, okay, it's all about understanding somebody's income, what if your income can't even bring enough food in the house if one person is going to starve? So we now talk about this part of, 50-50 versus, who brings more money, the usual traditional way. Well, should we do 50-50? Should we do 50-50? And
Okay.
then
are we going to be okay? So if you are doing 50-50 now, should the woman still submit or should she not submit? Like,
Can we
let's
talk about that part?
realistic things
when
that
you
we
bring
can
in
do.
50-50 in a marriage,
Okay.
you kill that marriage.
So
You as in
So you're not of the opinion of
no,
50.
So you
no.
feel like once
Let me
woman
tell
is
you,
doing 50-50,
as
We
a
should
woman,
do 70.
let me tell you, as a
Okay, I
woman,
think-
I just
hold
want to- I
on.
want to
As a
justify
woman,
that.
I am a woman.
Okay.
Once a man throws on the table for me 50-50,
Is it turn off?
is a turn off because
Cool.
on a good day,
What
I
are
will
we
even
talking
do
about
100.
50-50? Are we doing money?
Money.
Yeah, money.
everything.
Okay, then we are
Finances.
transactional, right?
That is
Yeah.
it. It's the trans.
We are
I see-
negotiating.
Yeah, and it shouldn't work. It
So-
shouldn't
it's a
happen.
topic now where people say, what does the woman bring to the table?
table.
Okay, 50-50.
So for me,
For
I
me,
don't know
I-
what 50-50 is or
I-
traditional.
Okay.
I'll say none is working
all.
because it's a shared responsibility.
That's it.
So if I
Communication.
can- so because we are
Okay.
a lot of times it's not upsetting to me, but it's bizarre. Like it cranks me when people want to narrow marriage to money alone. Because we're in
There's more to
diaspora,
marriage than money.
like so it becomes a thing, and that's the problem when we don't have a orientation of conviction that what we need in marriage is not the bills. You know,
a whole lot.
a woman can foot the bills, do everything
Without even complaining.
without complaining, and I'll have
Yeah.
and the man, I'm telling you,
Are you sure?
and a
I'm not
woman,
listening.
let me
No,
tell you
for
seriously.
real.
See, I know you will jump on me.
I
right?
want
But
to say
see,
something.
but what I'm trying to say here is, yes, don't worry, me too. I know my money is my money, your money is our money.
You
But you know,
that's
on a
crazy.
subtle level, when it comes to marriage,
Uh-huh.
for me, it's shared responsibility.
Okay.
That I would love my husband to always foot the bills. Yes, I love it. I want to be a chick, you know, in my
Okay.
marriage.
Soft
But I
life.
also, you know, soft life.
Baby girl
But I
life.
also want him to be comfortable.
That's it.
So majorly, if he can afford it, why not? I'll jump into the shoes of letting him do all of it. And then we would not have to call it 50-50.
Okay.
Do you know that men don't like 50-50?
Because
Even in men, like, so
it makes it look like
let me
you're
say
a
something.
female in the house.
in money.
In money, yeah. I
In
want to make
money
some points.
alone.
I want to
Okay.
make some point. You know, like when the 50-50 thing is supposed to be like, if men, if the woman is bringing money, then the leadership is split also. Everything. That's the concept of 50-50 now. Like, so if I start to find that, or if somebody starts to find that his spouse is tending towards that kind of conversation, then you have to bring that spouse to the round table and say, okay, 50-50, no problem. Let us list out every single chore that we do in this house. Let us list out every single income bill. So now, pick one chore, I pick one chore. Pick one chore. You'll see at the end of the day, it will not still work. Domestic chores. People forget that domestic chores include climbing the fence or the roof when things are leaking, putting the fence around the house, cutting the wood, cutting the grass.
They say that's a man's job.
No, but I'm
Get
saying,
somebody to do
but I'm saying that if you don't want to spend that money, if you don't have that income, right?
Okay, then
that's the
that's on
concept.
you.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. She said that she said chores, that men will not survive because of the chores.
Why
So
would they not survive?
I said if
My
we
man
list
has
out
been
the
surviving
chores,
70 years.
if we list out the chores, it will affect both the man and the woman, because certain chores that you don't want to do, when we list everything, I say, okay, pick one. You go pick one, right? I go
That's
pick
the
one. You go
thing.
pick one. I will go put electricity.
So we are trying to agree now that 50-50 cannot work.
Yeah.
No!
The concept of 50-50
What's your take on it?
is
I don't
flawed.
It's
think
flawed.
a
Yeah, I
50-50
take that.
That's my
concept
point.
exists.
Okay.
Because perhaps you can be more influential financially in your marriage and still love to do chores.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Facts.
Some
you
men are
might be
like
the
that.
best person laying beds, cleaning the house.
Yep.
Even
It's something
cooking.
you typically enjoy.
Yes.
For instance, this is myself an example. I think I have OCD when it comes to cleaning.
Welcome
Yes.
to my
I
husband's
wash
world.
my
My wife
clothes,
enjoys
yeah.
it.
Welcome
when
to
I
my
do
husband's
it.
world.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yes.
Right? I don't have a
Facts.
problem with that because I find, look, if this would be an issue,
Make I just do it.
let me, I love doing it. And
So you
I'm
know your
privileged
weakness.
enough.
You know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Trying to
If
use
you
it.
don't
That's
acknowledge your weakness,
Yeah.
then you're not ready for conversation.
Yeah, you're not going to
it.
So
tap
for
your
me,
strength.
I just look like, look, it's one thing for you less to worry about. And also for me as an individual, I'm not a big fan of food, but every time I say I want to eat, my wife is excited to cook. Right? So there should always be like that uniqueness in terms of the marriages like we're talking about. The concept of 50-50 on paper sounds fantastic. But in practical
Reality.
terms,
In reality,
the
it doesn't.
individuals in the marriage would actually define it. And this is what I'm saying when it comes to, the whole concept of, my money is my money, your money is your money, and all of that. But when it comes to the marriage, look, if we're aligning, I wish, a good example, I've been in situations where perhaps the woman is doing well, which is not the woman's problem. If she's doing well, it's fantastic, she's doing well. But have we come to realize that men are now becoming more vulnerable within themselves to express how they feel, and in terms of even financially, they would rather be vulnerable and face disrespect among their men than coming on to say, babe, this month's bill, no complete, or how good one. And naturally, you can expect that if our women, as loving as they are, you expect that, look, they are sort of support to you and comfort when the chips are down. I've not seen anybody that has 5 years straight without issues.
Yeah, and like also,
And in times of those issues,
3 weeks.
because you are collaborating and working together as a team,
Oh my God.
you would always scale. Another major problem is this. When men in their 40s relocate to the US or maybe the UK and all of that, they don't see themselves as long-term here. So in that reality, they go back very soon, they go back very soon, they go back very time go.
Oh yeah.
So by the time where time go, when you set into that reality of this
not
is
living.
home, you are not living. Perhaps sometimes
Some
it's-
lost opportunities.
yeah.
So in reality, we need to redefine in terms of how this concept of family would work and what shared responsibility looks like. When we say role, it's more like defining, look, you have to do this, I have to do this. And perhaps if I, for any reason, fail in that responsibility, it doesn't make me a bad person. It's just a case of, look, it's out of my control and let's look for a way to fix it.
Yeah, do you also know that there are physical chores and there are, mental chores that people do in the home? Like a spouse or a wife or somebody can be the one thinking about investment, about things that we are going to do. That's a chore.
And that's leadership on its own.
Okay.
Somebody too might be the one that is, for instance, now you see a lot of, I always bring this up, a lot of men will disconnect from their children because of the role that they have in their house. Children will turn towards the wife. That is a role that a man would choose to do. Be there as, maybe discipline, be there as, some.
But that's changing.
I know, but I'm saying that it is still within the family. These are mental roles that will also have psychological effect someday, sometimes. So when Pekin they invite person or when they have somebody, they want to talk to somebody, they might not feel comfortable enough to talk to their dad. They might feel like, mommy is the one always bringing us closer. I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing.
But let me say one funny thing about this whole
No,
concept.
it's not a good or a bad thing.
One funny thing that I've come
it's
to
just-
realize, it
I'm
took
gonna-
me a while
I'm
to
gonna
realize
cut
that,
in a
that a
little
lot
bit.
of the time,
Okay,
Yeah.
finish up with
what
you
you think as comfort zone is pure manipulation.
Yeah. Now the parents are together. They are just
Yeah.
Let me say
Okay.
something. With comfort zone on what level? Like
So when you think,
Mom.
my mom is a go-to person, I can express myself to and all of that, it's just pure manipulation.
To children.
The children, and also mother to child. Some fathers also do it. And one good thing is, look, your kids are not your friends
yeah.
at a certain age.
Yes,
But the truth
yes,
of the
it
matter
is.
also is this. Perhaps is what you guys have seen over time. It took me time to actually evaluate why I can be on phone with my mom for like 40 minutes and do like a 15 minutes with my dad. I wasn't comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
You have to go to realize
But
that.
I got to that point when I realized that there's a way your mom will talk to you. She will make you do what you don't want to do.
okay.
But in the name of, my mom will love you.
So I'm going to throw this question generally in a home. Respect versus control. Which would you want to say, okay, it's really, really the major a man actually deserves, or probably a woman deserves, or something like that?
I was about to study waters with submission.
Yes.
Because I think we didn't touch it.
Yeah.
So for submission, I would state that for me, I still like to garnish my man in a way that I see him doing a lot more than I am because I'm a weaker vessel.
Okay.
And that's my love language.
Okay.
And so I don't want to always see my man as feeble.
Okay.
God forbid a situation of handicap is hand, 2 legs,
working.
Working. So I still like to place him on that pedestal, and the only thing I can use to garnish him is to seek his opinions when I'm making decisions.
Yeah.
And also like the 50-50, if we are stereotyping
You have to
into
place him as the
money,
head.
I make sure that, don't look at me already.
No, I'm listening. I'm
That you
enjoying
see
the
that
conversation.
money and that money aspect.
Your money is your
sometimes-
money.
Let your money be our money. No, so the thing
It's a good feeling.
it is a love language for me. And it's working in my marriage.
Okay.
So if it's working in yours, fantastic.
Yeah, fine.
But if not, But that's the way I want to see my man.
But do you know some men who say, I don't care if she earns more than me. Whatever she earns, she has to bring it to me. Do you know that?
No. Then that's where you come to
Control.
your respect and control.
That's the stage of men.
Yes.
Do
We hear things like
So
that.
people that
What
it happens.
percentage
Because
of
that's what
men do
right
that?
now I don't have like a data spreadsheet,
You know,
like Excel spreadsheet.
it
so I can
happens.
Pull up like a
Statistics
a
or something like that,
histogram or
you know?
a bar chart or
So if it happens, you're in an abuse relationship,
That's
and
it.
that's
I
valid.
think
That's not a marriage.
Hold on, sir.
it depends on trust. If a man starts to have the perception that his wife
He wants to be in
makes
control.
not control, it makes certain amounts of money
Mm-hmm.
and he's not aware of it.
Okay.
He's kept outside of it.
Okay.
That may, because I brought the word trust, that may become a problem. Where
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
I don't see what's going on with the finances. Probably I'm in school, we agree that you're working, you're the one taking care. But all of a sudden, like, waiting happen for you, waiting happen for you.
Why do you want to know what I?
No, I'm saying
What I'm
because we
making.
agreed that I'm in school. I gave you an instance.
Okay.
I'm in school. The income,
Yeah.
the wife's income at that point in time,
Okay.
is
It's
the
what
family
we are
income.
using, and I'm using it right, but you still just want to be nosy.
Oh, Lord.
No, I'm not asking you. I'm asking. No, the man just wants to still be nosy.
Don't you believe that in a home, everything
Okay.
should be transparent?
So what's the word joint?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the word joint?
No, as in, not for me.
Joint when you are not working, you are in school.
You are not working.
No.
What's joint about that
No,
money?
wait now. There has to be transparency in a home.
Okay.
So
I agree to that. Though.
I might not even let not use me, but
Yes,
a person
the man-
might not even
Mm-hmm.
touch the money if there is transparency,
Okay.
right? But once somebody starts to see that there's something fishy here, or there's
Uh-huh.
something that is not transparent, then it might start to raise questions.
Okay.
Is
Right.
doing the
But
working?
you
Like
must-
who
it-
makes
it
the
doesn't
money?
matter, even if
Okay.
it's the man that is
Okay,
making
you
it.
know what? I want to understand the scenario.
So let's say a woman is not working.
Okay.
She needs to know that the income in this house. I'm not working. I'm not bringing.
Any
Yes.
income,
But
yeah.
the income in this house is 80,000 a year.
Yes,
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. That's what I'm saying. That
But
there
it
has
should
to
not be
trust.
much. That's when you're saying like it should not be that the woman should not be doing more than that money. That's where the trust comes
No,
from.
just transparency.
So I want us to
Just
narrow
transparency.
this thing down to financial contribution versus leadership. Does it mean that are we tying leadership to who is bringing more?
No.
Okay, so now we're going to all agree that whoever is bringing more we don't have to tie it based on if you're making more
It
money.
doesn't
as a
matter
leader.
about
So
that.
anybody can be
So
leader
like
or-
for me, I would say there's nothing like leadership in marriage. I it's my thought.
But the husband is the head of the house.
Are you looking for where to purchase your African food, ingredients, drinks, beverages, and lots more? Here comes CC&C International Food Market, where all African ingredients like salt, seasoning, garlic, black pepper, curry, thyme, onion powder, jollof rice spice, even your palm oil, vegetable oil are available. You buy from us and you will love.
So we are all talking about or making our own various, we're talking about stuff I can see the linear, like, oh yeah, the way we grew up, the man is the head of the house, the wife is the helpmate. The man goes to his office, goes to the shop, he has his job, the mom has maybe her little office job or has a small shop that she stays with her kids, but we all grew up knowing our dad as the head of the house. If you hear your father's car coming, everybody's behaving themselves, right? Yeah, everybody's mommy is the one you can play with, daddy is the one you can't just talk to him anyhow because he's the head of the house. And that's basically mostly coming from back home, mostly finance based, if you're going to be honest to ourselves, because time for school fees, you go
It's
to
the
daddy
dad.
for your school fees. That's what we know. Now I'm bringing it back to being in this country where man and woman are both earning, whether it's the same thing or not, they are both earning. Now the woman now decides to now earn more. The woman is earning like 200k, the man is on like 50k. At that point, how do you navigate the leadership of that house when the usual daddy brings back home money is no longer there? The woman is now making much more. How do you navigate the leadership of that marriage? Of that, because that's a reality of many couples where the woman is earning more, the man is not earning a lot. How do you navigate that?
It still boils down to individual anyway.
Individual goals.
Individual differences like on understanding. A woman can earn more than her husband and still bows down to her husband.
How many
Be
times have we seen
submissive.
that?
Bows down.
But-
Like be
but-
submissive.
Do you know that-
Okay,
the
sorry.
Bible-
Be submissive.
The Bible in Ephesians 5:23 says
Oh,
that
come on now.
the man is the head of the house,
That's
like
right.
Christ is the head of
Of
the
a church.
That means that it's
So-
serviceable because Christ, as the head of the church, is to service. Is
Of
not as
course.
the head, like the way you
The
are
dictator.
want to. The head
Okay,
want to
control.
but let me go. So I want to
Good
ask you a question now. When you have a tiebreaker in your
Oh
marriage,
my God.
something that the man wants to go left and the woman wants to go right, what is the tiebreaker?
That's a faulty marriage.
no,
foundation.
decisions.
Let me tell you.
It's not faulty.
Let me tell you the truth.
Okay.
A faulty marriage is a narrative of what you just said. When one wants to go left,
Yeah,
and
that
going
one doesn't
by
go
the Bible,
Even simple
can two walk
decisions.
together
No, even
unless
simple
they are
Yeah,
agreed.
I agree.
So let me tell you, the tiebreaker is understanding who is making sense. My husband is not a business person, but when I want to make decisions in business, we still come to the round table to discuss it. I'm about to make this decision. I'll be paying this. I'll be running this. I'll have to be going this time and
Communication.
coming back this time. He might not want it, but we lay a ground of advantages, disadvantages,
That's right.
pros and cons of decisions before we make a decision. It's not about who's is standing at the end of the day. It's about what will survive or sustain that marriage. Every time if we make decision as to who is going to be right, it becomes a problem. If what will sustain a marriage is the outcome of that decision you're about to make. So we should not be selfish about any decisions.
So in the subject of finance, because that's
Yeah,
where
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yes.
Because there can be two right.
So in the
It's
subject
not
of
right and
finance,
wrong. Oh.
Yeah, I understand you.
There can be two reasonable conversations.
but I'm sure
It's
that
like, for instance, let me give you
Okay.
a practical example. It's
Okay.
like you said, business. Let's use business. Joint account versus separate
Private,
account.
yep.
There is no right or wrong. It's just concepts, right? So your concept is good, my concept is good, but somebody has to make a decision.
let me now tell you, individual comes in because if your character is bad with money. For me, my character is very bad with money. I'll spend your money and spend my money, and I will justify it because I'm not spending it aimlessly. So sometimes character, our combinations to making decisions are comparison of our experience, who we are as individuals, who we want to be, our present person, our, the whole embodiment of who your wife is. So if, for instance, let me give you, and it has saved a lot of marriage. Why I didn't want a husband to be in another state and I will be a wife in another state is to avoid adultery. Or what's it called? Is it adultery?
Yeah.
Fornication and all
Adultery.
of that. And that's the truth. Some people will not make that decision because they trust their wife. I will tell you, don't trust me. Come and stay here. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? So it is a very practical sense when we are making these decisions and we are looking at the addicted success of some other person. You have to look at the
Everything is-
combination of yourself. So if my husband, he keeps the money with the tips of his hand, I will now go and give my business money to him. When I know that tomorrow morning they will bring a new design that I have to do checkout for. So these are not, it's not black and white. It's a matter of who you are as an individual. The Bible says, can two walk together unless they agree? So we have to agree on the concept before it's even
Okay, so let us talk about universally now. Submission versus partnership. Which one do you think works best in a marriage, America or not?
I mean, okay.
Can you let him say
As
something,
in,
please?
the wife submitting or in the marriage, both of them are submitting as a partnership, or the wife has to be the one
Throw some light on
submitting.
it, please.
The word submission happens before you get married.
Okay,
Okay.
When you get into marriage, it's partnership.
that's right.
Because the truth is, they make it seem like, oh, if you say you want to do this, the wife will say, oh, let's go, let's do this and all of that. It doesn't work that way. And if you think about it, it's very important that you then make a decision to marry from your social class, somebody that you can have conversation with.
That's right.
A lot of the time, you see people who are deprived of certain things. When they come to an environment that is enabling them, it looks like, oh, I've actually been in bondage all this while. Now, I see people who talk about women rights, women freedom, and all of that. In practical terms, it's who she is or who he is. Not to say also that there are men that are irresponsible. But you cannot just assume to say the concept of partnership and submission. Look, these things don't happen. And you need to actually define, like what she said, you need to define who you are getting married to. Earlier, before we started having this conversation, we had some thought around what kind of conversations do people have when they are dating. There are certain things that out of poverty you ignored.
And those are red flags.
And this is a pathway for you to
flags.
survive.
True.
And you get into the marriage,
I feel like you want to change it. It's not
and
possible.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, correct.
I gave an example initially of, so let me don't let me use this example.
Okay.
You
Give the
see
example.
you see people dating, and the lady, using an example of where we come from, the lady goes to the guy's house and it's like, oh, I need to clean, cook, and all of that.
Went
That's
the
all
ground.
fun, and all of that looks like, oh, this. Whether you cook,
As a
whether
wife
you
material.
clean, the guy already made his show to marry.
Of course, certainly.
Now, if he ends up marrying you, you already showed that this
You're
is
capable.
the way you want to nurture him,
That's it.
take care of him. And then, why should finance
Now change.
change that narrative? That's one. Number two, as a reasonable person, a guy, there's what we call transition.
Oh, yeah.
As the reality of life continues to transit in your marriage, you also need to wake up to that reality.
That's right.
For instance, one of the first things I thought of when I was speaking to my partner is like, person will not do homework for my pikin, I don't get belay for her. I don't get belay for me.
Must be smart.
But you see, this whole thing, we talk about it from, it doesn't matter. You get into marriage and you have more clarity in terms of, this is things I need to actually think and focus for.
Marriage is the eye opener.
And at some point, before I got to, in my early days, I have to be very honest. It got to a point, I wasn't really excited when I hear, this person is getting married. My question is, are you really sure
You want to be
of
together
what you are
forever?
getting into?
Are you ready? So, partnership, when we say partnership,
Okay.
there is partnership of 99% and 1%, right?
Okay.
Like, that's partnership.
Yeah.
So can you define, in terms of, is it because we just went away from the 50-50?
Yeah, sure.
So, when you say, okay, it's partnership, I be business boy, I be Igbo man. What are we talking about in partnership?
It's true because they're like fine prints. When you say partnership, somebody can be the 90% partner, somebody can be the 10% partner.
Supportive.
That's also, but what
So it looks like we're going back to 50-50.
So
No.
Partnership.
So let me.
50-50 is just a concept.
Is it no?
Partnership actually drives its own.
So it's an illusion. It's not practical. Whatever it is, the statistics that we are using, the 90, the 1%. The 1% sometimes is the greatest because without that 1%, it's not going to be 100 anyways. So what I'm saying, what I see about submission that I want to clear the air about is that it's not submission when you silence the voice of your partner or you assume the role of the provider, you assume the role of nurturing the kids. Some men, they provide, they will still not let their wives talk to their kids, nurture their kids. They will still be the one to say, this is how I want my child to be trained. This is how I've seen it played out. So when it comes to partnership, it's a mutual understanding of placing responsibilities. The capacity of each person is the partnership. So if my capacity is 1% and you love me like that, please
like
let's
that.
go on. So it's a capacity is a space of enabling the vulnerability of your spouse and and putting it together to say let's work together.
when it comes to finances, what is in a home? Let's remove this elephant of who is making more money.
More.
Now, let's talk about being in a country whereby you can do whatever. Everybody has the free world, the American land of the free, home of the free. You can do whatever you want to do because it's the United States of America. What is submission and what is partnership? In a place where you can do whatever you want and you're back. If you call the cops and say, I was trying to leave the house and he told me not to go, they might arrest the man for stopping her. But back home, you can stop your wife from going wherever she wants to go to. And she can sit back there and cry about it. But here, if she decides to call the cops and say, I want to go and you lock the door, they can arrest the man. So what is submission and can you define what submission is? And what partnership is, and then weigh them, because we're having to wrap up this and weigh them. When it comes to in this country, what do you think works best? The traditional man is here, wife is here submitting, or where everybody brings
on the
their
same
equal,
page.
everybody bring their own brain, and they turn it together.
You're asking two different questions. The first one is what is submission? Whether this cup can hold hot water or cold water in Nigeria, anywhere in Africa, is hot if it's hot.
Yeah.
If it's here, it's hot if it's hot. Hot water, cold water, it is what it is. A marriage is a definition of what it is. It doesn't matter if you take it to the mountain or it's an institution by itself with its own rules, its laws. So it would never be the same with everybody. So what works for A is not going to work for B. And in my own opinion, I will go back to, and I like where Mazi said, partnership can be 99 and 1%, which means it goes back to abilities, capacities, what we can take, what we cannot take. Let's always, I would advise, just throwing it out there, that in my opinion, a marriage just needs to work if we have two disciplined people, two structured-minded people, two visionaries, like share everything. That's the only way it would work.
Okay.
For me. So it's not about submission, it's about if you bring it today and I'm perplexed, like I'm dumb today, it's okay to be dumb today. And tomorrow, if I become the brilliant one, it's okay.
So are we saying that the concept of the whole strong-worded submission in marriage is fast phasing out?
A selfish conviction of minority that is trying to sell it out to people that actually believe in what marriage is. See, let me tell you, that I've known a lot of times, people are product of dysfunctional society, dysfunctional home. We are product of what our daddy used to be. We are product of what our mommy used to be. It's not going to work if we continue in that, that abnormality. Marriage won't work for everybody.
What works for their
what
marriage?
works for your partner?
I think our discussion on marriage are centered around monogamy. What about I know in Africa, many people come from polygamous. What is the dynamic? And there are very many successful.
Well, we cannot talk about polygamy because you're not in Nigeria, in the United States. We're talking about here. Because if you marry two wives here, you have to explain why you have two wives in your house. So let's leave polygamy. So I think we've been having a pretty mature, interesting, soft, everybody's sensitive, everybody is living in the world of euphoria. If everything works well, if people love each other and all that, yes. But I have this question I don't think anybody has answered me yet. If the woman is earning more, way more, not 1,000 more, like way more in the home, can she still be submissive? Can she be making the millions and still come back and say, my husband needs to eat, so I have to make his food,
I want that lady, I want Tina to answer that question.
Can a woman still be, and let us say this realistically, not because of people are watching us,
please,
but because
be real, be practical. Yeah,
I'm always a realistic person.
Cool.
So if a woman, from where I come from, we all came from the same place, which is Africa, Nigeria.
Okay.
If a woman is richer or she earns more than her husband, the truth is she should be submissive. Yeah, she should. Because, we have some examples back home. Like somebody like Dora Akunyele. She is way more than her husband, but yet she's still under the man.
Were we living with them?
See, we were not living with them, but at least we still have people that knows them, and we have social media and everything. If reverse was to be the case, we'll see it out there.
But it's weird. It's weird. Why? Because you see, there are certain statements that when I hear those statements, I know there's a problem even in that family. I make my money, I pay my bills, you can't tell me nothing.
That's pride.
That's it.
That's an element of that woman. She's already experiencing success, which is not a bad thing. But then, when you let your success overcloud your reasoning, it becomes a problem. Now to your question, would or can she be submissive?
Regardless.
It's a question of self, but most times I think women lose it.
Why do women lose it?
So let me say, is your submission a function of money? Like, okay, today your husband start earning more. Your
Then you
submission will come back.
That's where I'm going.
Then later you get another job. Your submission. So what kind of that value will just be like a sine wave.
Mazi,
Today
from
submission
day
tomorrow.
one, when they were going into the marriage, they were marrying a provider, not a companion. Somebody to have companionship with, and immediately roles change. Then things should actually switch. So you see individuals who are trying to escape poverty and bills going into marriage. And it's usually the concepts when you see these things happen. Like, when I was dead. Now, it's now a case of, after all, when you were buying the car, you didn't tell me, so why should I tell you I'm buying my own car? And all of that. So
competition.
You also then see them driving individuals into the cat race, rat and cat race of, I have to do this, I have to do this. And at the end of the day, how much is enough? Which is a concept that we need to consistently ask ourselves.
Well, and some men may deserve it. Some men may deserve it. I mean, if a man has been really successful and is rubbing it in the face of his wife, or maybe depriving his wife from...
Let her air out
discussion, because these submissions I don't understand.
Please explain it.
Okay. Let me give situations or insights.
Okay.
Are we saying submission in the place I will come back from work? You are there. You have been home 4:30.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll come back home 5:30, and you are waiting that I should come and cook.
Okay.
Are these examples of
submission?
I want to know. Before I say yes or no.
Let the men be answering.
Are we saying, is this kind of submission that we're talking about, or are we saying submission when you don't know my business, you don't know the pros, you don't know the cons, and you as an individual, you don't like to take risk. And me, I'm a risk taker because that's how I'm built. I want to use your decision to to kill my own dreams and aspirations. That's true, Abi.
Yes.
Another one, I want to go to school.
Okay.
You are doing well in diaspora. When I was going to school, you see me, I went to school. You did not go to school. You decide to be the man, Abi. It's okay, you helped us. After I now come back from school, you know that school that I'm going to is 16 hours shift that I'll be picking from that school. When I now start picking that 16 hours, you now be saying, we want to have another child. Is that what submission? Those things, submission.
I've heard you.
Thank you.
What?
I just want to understand submission before I tell to.
I've heard you, and what you have just successfully done is pick and choose.
But
in terms of, initially, like a few minutes ago, you said, your 1% might be insufficient if you truly define your partnership well. But now, in this case of saying, you've gone to work 16 hours, you've done this and all of that, who did you marry to? That's the first thing.
You have to stay with who I married now. Sometimes you people waver.
Your choice. Now, I'm going somewhere.
Weather.
Your choice. Yes, weather.
You people
will continue to
change by the
evolve and all
weather.
of that. Now, you came also up with a conversation around, you opened your eyes, I was going to school. But you forgot that part of, babe, you keep working. Let me go to school.
Okay.
When I graduate, then I start working, you can then transition to school. How come it's very quick for you guys to forget your commitments when money comes into the picture?
So most times, most times it's always individual character. Like I said, a lot of men are dealing under weather. When you start to see your spouse wearing nice outfits, self-realization, it becomes an insecurity issue for some men, and it's a trouble.
It looks like this cooking thing is a big problem.
In fact, that you see that cooking thing
is a problem because
cooking is COKING. That's cooking.
Not cooking.
I don't know when it turned to cooking.
Well,
why can't you cook?
Now. We have
Okay, so let me ask you. If you are saying cooking is a major problem in the US, I don't think, and I don't agree so. So let's do.
That's what it seems like.
Let's do like just a
it's all
random
about
conversation
balancing,
of,
actually.
When you think about it, you have a lot of African restaurants springing up. Who do you think is their major customers, men or women?
Men.
Why?
Men patronize them.
No, hold on. I'm going somewhere.
Men are finding alternatives.
When these restaurants cook over the weekend for supplies to homes and all of that, who do you think is placing those orders from them?
The wives.
A lot of men.
No.
I know some
No,
wives.
hold
Yeah.
on. Yeah, we'll get somewhere.
Yeah.
Because
So what we are
I
saying
do
in
place
essence.
orders.
So what we are saying in essence is this: if you're subjecting your role to what an African kitchen will do, what's the big deal?
Or
Cook to it.
another lady. Auntie, cook for me and
Cook
they
for
come.
me.
Yeah,
I'll come
marry
and pick
your
up.
wife. You will
So you see now you're picking and choosing.
And then tomorrow you're still
Somebody
don't know how
starts
to
to
cook.
food as a weapon. Then somebody might
so
adjust to it.
let me
Adjust.
So let me
And
put
the process
it
of
like,
adjusting.
let me put this.
You
It's
will
a
yourself
mindset
calm.
thing. Why
You know why-
do
you
you
know why we
think that?
say
Why do
speak
you
and
think?
choose?
Sorry, sir.
Okay.
Why do you think that it's a weapon? Why are you thinking like that?
Because
I cannot. Why are you not being realistic?
Okay.
To looking at my own schedule, my time, and why do you have to feel like somebody is suffering?
I mean,
Hold on. No. So
too.
I like the way that you are picking these words and you are using them.
why do you
we're
think
not
that
looking
I'm
at your
suffering
schedule
you?
and all of
Yes.
that and all of that. Have you realized that even in the average marriage now, if you have those practical conversations, men can look at the calendar and see how many times they were intimate in a year.
Oh yeah.
And you know why? Let them point somewhere. You know why?
That's another topic.
I'll probably not experience this because I'm privileged to actually fix my shit. However, you would realize also that when men complain, oh, there are no women, women are recycling the same set of men because of their ability to provide. So in essence, what you guys are looking for, hold on. What you are looking for
Someone
is
that
not
can provide.
a partner, but someone that can do poverty alleviation.
I mean, you can't eat your cake and have it. If you say you want to be the head, you have to carry the cross.
So it is safe to say that African men are doing poverty alleviation when it comes to marriage.
But we need to
Wait, but the mindset
That is a tradition now.
Wait,
That is tradition. Yes, it's a tradition. You are supposed to take care of your family. You're supposed to take care of your wife.
of the house.
Yeah.
If you want to be a traditionalist, wait. If you want to be a
That's why I said
traditionalist,
concept.
if you want to be a traditionalist, you carry the cost of a traditionalist. You cannot be doing odogo not with money, and you are doing odogu with agbada. It doesn't work.
Okay.
You cannot be empty with odogu. You have to be odogu.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
So if you want to be a traditional man,
No,
yes, if you want to be a
okay,
traditional man, if you want to bring that, which is okay. You don't want me to erase culture. You want me to be in line, be aligned with culture. It's okay.
So it's safe to say
But
that at the end of every month,
do you know that women in general they are very complex human beings. So odogu, we say sit at home, and the narrative will be this odogu wants to kill my career.
brother,
He wants me to be-
even if
So-
you give her $10,000,
It will still be a problem.
see, your money is not sufficient to keep them.
Oh yeah.
No.
Exactly.
You need
Your
to
money
know
cannot
that.
keep a woman. Yeah, for real.
That you are not
Your
making
money
enough.
cannot keep a
Wait
woman.
now,
You
wait.
are not making enough. When it's not enough, it is not enough.
But even food,
No, so we are saying that in the reality of what we have,
they are
see,
still- they still have this problem.
if some of the mentors I have, like Bill Gates, cannot keep a woman with all his money.
That should let you know that
Oh,
it's
wow.
Wait
beyond
now,
money.
wait now,
Beyond.
wait. But every time a
Very
typical
complex.
African
It's a very
woman
complex-
has a conversation
It's big
around
issue.
marriage, what comes to the forefront is money. I'm working, my money. And what I see
Stress.
is basically individuals who have been deprived over time.
Yes, facts. That's what I said in the beginning.
See, men are wired from the abandonment of. Seriously, men are wired from the abandonment syndrome that the society has rendered. Nobody asks you. It's you people that you always clamor about head of the family. I watched the last episode. It's you people. It's you people that always head of life. You want to be head of everything.
I'm the
So
man.
I am
I'm
the
the
man.
man.
You
I'm
are
the
the
man.
7 ribs, 9 ribs, 10 ribs.
I'm
that made you
the man of the house.
Let me ask
Who they
something.
are.
In relation to this, so we hear a loud bang in the middle of the night. Will I say my wife should go and check it out?
So that's
no.
because you want to see.
Not because
Let
I
me
want
tell
to.
you. That's
It's
it.
a
You don't get.
responsibility.
You are saying that's what I'm saying.
Let's remove one.
I need a lot of
Even
times.
son and daughter, right? I will even be more comfortable telling my son to check
Mazi,
it out
a
than
lot
telling
of
my
times
daughter.
nobody asks you what you people do. You have been
Now,
wired
so are you saying
to
that
do it, to be
at
a
the end of the
provider.
day-
Let me now tell you something.
And a protector too.
Yes, and nobody, some of these people don't have
Is it-
more
is it
zeal.
that they don't
I
make
will
you
carry
do
some
what
of
you
them
do?
up. Now, let me say this. You see, the thing with this
So
thing,
let's do something.
Matthew,
Let's
wait,
have
let
the
me just
strongest
explain
woman
this thing.
Fight in the boxing ring.
Let me
with
now
the
just
strongest
explain
man.
this thing.
Maybe like a Mike Tyson
Yes.
versus a
It
strong
won't
woman.
work like that. You know why? Because then there's a muscle thing. But I'm trying to say that it's just a dysfunctional situation that you people are wired like that. You are wired to think that the only thing you can provide to get our attention is money. So sometimes when you people, you don't even have enough of that money, but you think that all money na money. And it's not like that. It doesn't work like that. So you have neglected other responsibilities to just solely want to be a provider and a protector for who never asked you.
Okay, so me, the way I look at it, men are already subject to tests even before marriage. Women and their families made it so. Before you marry a wife, sometimes you are subjected to even being flogged in certain cultures.
Right.
In Northern Africa or Northern, they will
Nigeria.
flog you to
The
test
Fulanis.
Your ability.
Yeah, your ability,
Your
your
strength.
strength. If you're capable of protecting the
woman,
lady.
yeah.
In the East, they slam you with sometimes ridiculous amounts of money to
Bills.
provide bills to they will tell you that they want to test your
Who
strength.
made those laws? Not
So,
women.
but
Men made those laws.
why is it that the women at that
Men
point in
made
time,
those laws, not
It's the
women.
men that make the laws now.
But why is it
Because
that the woman,
each family
But
they have
every
their
time,
list.
Every time, a
And
woman
who are the
enjoys-
people making the list? Yeah, it's the men.
no, even the women, no, the women will put their Ada clothes. The women they will add
But
basis
the
of-
men started it first.
But that's what I'm saying. So the expectation
So
that
if
the man is
there's a system that the men started,
no.
and it is clear
I'm trying to
that
finish you.
it is of
Why
great
don't we then-
disadvantage to you women.
Yes, why
But
don't you
because
clamor
you
about
profit
it?
from it,
It's
you
not
don't
the
see it
problem.
as a problem. At the
Yes.
point when they say be accountable,
Now
it's
we are
evil.
talking about
He's
we
a
are
bad
talking
person.
about
So are the men saying they're not tired of being providers?
I mean, if that's why I said if
So if you want to relegate the role of a man
let's
as
scrap
being
everything.
a companion
Let us scrap the
rather
marriage thing.
than a provider, because what you guys are asking for,
It's embedded in the origin,
it's
in the beginning.
there already.
Yes.
But at the point where all your conversation goes around money, it shows that most women don't even have substance.
Please, the whites, a lot of respect, they will just kneel down, present a ring, drive to the next bus stop and get married.
They're fine.
Let's do that.
Do you also know that the concept of shared responsibility
Yes,
is also
if that's the
embedded
case.
in their way of life? So it's not a function. I've seen families where the woman is working, the guy is like sit at home dad, fixing things.
Is that applicable to
The
an average
average. So the
African man?
question is, the average African woman, are you willing to be the person leading in terms of finance while the man is sit at home?
That's a whole lot.
Well, that's the question for the audience. You can put that in the comment section. Are you comfortable living financially while your husband stays back home, being the house
Oh my
husband?
goodness.
And then the men too. I know you can ask the question.
Ego.
The man, are you comfortable being
have
the
a
house
word.
husband?
The ego will not let them.
Everything.
I think the world is changing too much.
And you know the funny
That's
thing
one
also,
thing
if you
that
go by
changes.
tradition also, you guys don't have a problem with it when a man decides that I'm living with the mindset that, oh, I'll be the first to die. You enjoy the inheritance. You don't have a problem with that.
I mean, I'm not
right?
thinking about husband being
No,
first to die, you are
hold
saying.
on.
But
That's the
men
way.
die.
That's the way
Why do
men
men
are
die?
wired.
Why do men die faster?
Because of the
No,
stress.
Beyond the stress, medically also,
It's
there are
stress.
a lot of facts
Yeah.
that comes with it. But the question is, the average man already thinks of his legacy and his succession plan. And part of his succession is that I want my wife to be strong enough, capable, whatever happens. And this is what I say to a lot of friends. And this has also caused some issues around. When I see certain women treat their husband badly, what I say to them is this. If, for instance, you go out of the picture, if you don't learn to be responsible, to know how to do things. Some women don't even know how to pay their mails from the mailbox.
Yeah.
Some
don't
women
even know
don't
how
even
to
know water
shop.
bill,
Yeah.
how to pay it.
They
I'm
don't.
not asking you use your money to pay, but understand the process. Because what will eventually happen is this. If you are not used to being in a structured process, trust me, that family you think you are protecting as a man, and you don't want the woman to be accountable, will be homeless.
This is like a never-ending conversation. We cannot talk about this enough. It's recurring. We have something to say tomorrow, next week. But just quick rapid-fire questions. Submission or partnership?
Individuals should decide.
Submission or partnership?
Like the Indians, stick to what you started with, stick to your culture.
Submission or partnership?
Partnership.
Partnership. Okay. 50-50 or provider-led home? Like 50-50 or provider-led home?
That's a concept. But I believe 50-50 doesn't exist.
50-50 or provider-led home?
Man is the head of the house.
50-50 or provider-led home?
That.
Same thing, man is the head of the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, we've had beautiful time discussing this issue. We cannot even stop at this time, but we just have to stop. But whatever it is, whatever works in your home, whatever works in your family, please abide by it. Don't look at another family to compare. There's no comparison anywhere. Every family is unique in its own way. If it works for you, go for it. If you feel, okay, 50-50 is the way forward, go for it. I believe something. It's all about communication. It's all about mutual respect. Whatever works for A might not work for B.
True.
So individually, you sit down together, come to the draw table, talk about it, and everything is going to be smooth. It doesn't matter if we live in the diaspora. It doesn't matter. We still have our culture, which we got to practice.
I will always say couples should love each other and treat each other as friends.
That's right.
Be friends, love yourselves, understand each other.
Be kind.
Be kind to one another.
right.
Anyways, as we are going to say, drop your thoughts in the comment section. We are reading everything. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to One
That's
Bed
right.
TV.
That's right. Thank you so much for
See you
coming
next
to
time.